Hello, everybody. Happy holidays. In this video, I'm going to be talking about 11 things that Christmas symbols mean. This is because I was interested in, why do we put trees inside our houses, or why do we give people gifts on Christmas? Like, what's the point besides the capitalistic economic objectives of the market? Like traditionally, historically, or culturally, what are the reasons we do this? So I'm going to be reading from this list of 11 things that we basically do on Christmas or during the holiday season, why we do them, and where they come from, what is their origin. And I'm going to be showing some pictures along this video so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about specifically. So let's get into it. So the first one was the Christmas tree. Like, why do we put a literal tree in the house? Like, we don't bring like bushes in the house, or we don't bring rocks or mountains, or, like, why do we bring a tree in the house during Christmas? Like, what's going on there? So basically, the origin of the Christmas tree tradition begins with the pagan solstice celebration in Europe, where evergreen trees, and evergreen trees are the Christmas trees. Basically, the one behind me, like the Christmas trees where we can actually put stuff on them. Those are evergreen trees, and they symbolize life and endurance throughout the darkest days. So here I'm like, oh, I understand. So it's a symbol of, even though it's winter and everything is dead, right? Like plant life is dead outside. I'm still keeping life alive in my house, right? Like there's life in here, right? I guess that's the symbol of the tree, because the tree represents nature, life, right? And it's endurance through the darkest days, which we know winter is the darkest time of the year, right? It's the coldest. It's when we don't have any crops, no food. You're basically during spring, you were supposed to accumulate, right, food resources, or they did, at least the ancients back in the day. During summer, you were also thriving, stacking, piling up the food, your resources. And then during winter, you were supposed to survive with what you had, right, until spring would come again next year, right? So in this case, in the 16th century, German Christians began decorating trees indoors to celebrate Christmas. So that's the origin. Why we use it: the Christmas tree represents eternal life and hope. It became popular in the 16th century because Martin Luther, the Protestant reformer, reportedly added candles to a tree to mimic the stars shining on a snowy winter's night. Its growing popularity reflected the desire to bring beauty, light, and symbolic Christian values into homes during the season. So the light, the candles here, I'm going to get into candles in a little bit, but the candles represent the stars, which represent the star that the three wise men were following when they were going to go see Jesus, baby Jesus, right? And that's why it's symbolic with the, so we have a little bit of pagan history here, a little bit of Christian history, right? Christian values, a little bit of aesthetics, right? Which in modern day are super popular. These ideas of beauty and, everything's beautiful and all nice and all aesthetic. Okay. The second one, gift giving and Santa Claus. So where does this come from? Why do we give people gifts on Christmas? The origin is gift giving originates from the story of the three wise men. Okay, so now I get it. So the three wise men brought Jesus gifts when baby Jesus was born, right? And we do that to kind of represent the gift giving that the three wise men. So it's kind of like we celebrate his birthday by giving each other or one another gifts, right? Yeah, because you get gifts on your birthday, right? You get a gift on your birthday. You get gifts from people on your birthday, but in this case, everybody gets gifts on Christmas because it's Jesus we're talking about. And Santa Claus, inspired by Saint Nicholas, a 4th century Greek bishop known for his generosity. So I'm guessing he was the opposite of Scrooge, right? Evolved into a modern figure through folklore, Coca-Cola marketing campaigns, of course, here's the capitalistic marketing economic side, and cultural adaptations, of course. Why we use it? Gift giving during Christmas expresses gratitude, love, and generosity, which are essential values for fostering strong relationships and community bonds. Okay, so I guess the gift giving thing is to kind of strengthen, and it's kind of like a break. You take a breather from your working life, you go on holiday, you're on break, winter break, vacation, all this stuff, and you're able to, a lot of people are kind of weirded out by the holiday seasons, especially because they have to see family members that they don't like. But I guess the objective or the intention is for you to really see people that you normally like, that you normally talk to, and to strengthen, to foster, like it says here, foster those relationships and the community bonds, right? Like a lot of communities I know do this like gift exchange thing, or they have like a little party right in the block and things like that. Everybody gives their part or their share of the money so they can have a little Christmas party. That's nice. But I think you do this if you're already on good terms with those people. I think it's bad to do it when you don't even talk to the people and then you're forced to do it. If you're forced to do it, I think you shouldn't do it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Okay, and then it says the holiday season is a time of reflection and unity. Yes, well, you're in your house, it's cold. What else are you gonna do, right? You can only meditate. You can't go outside and swim or run in the sun, right? You have to stay inside. And back before technology, you had to just tell stories, play board games, or maybe meditate, reflect. Now you can just sit at home and watch TV all day, all night. Okay, making it the perfect opportunity to show appreciation for others. Okay, Santa Claus here embodies the joy of giving by personifying selfless generosity, again with St. Nicholas during the 4th century, and the magic of Christmas through his fantastical story. His journey across the world symbolizes hope, kindness, and the universal spirit of joy and wonder that transcends age and culture. Yeah, I would say so far it does transcend age and culture. A lot of cultures adapt to this Christmas. They celebrate Christmas. Even if you're not Christian or you're not religious, you still celebrate it. You still go on holiday. You still eat. You still have fun, whatever, right? And age too. I mean, this is so far, adults like it, kids like it, old people like it, everybody likes it, right? I'm guessing more because you get a break from your work life or school life, whatever you're doing. Okay, number 3, candles and lights. The origin, candles were central to ancient solstice celebrations, symbolizing the return of light. In Christianity, they represent Jesus as the light of the world. So again, this relationship between light, candles, hope, Jesus, right? Strings of electric lights later became a safer way to continue this tradition. Yeah, and because now we have technology, so we're able to use lights instead of candles. But I guess that's pretty interesting. I guess the lights symbolize the candles, which symbolize the stars, which symbolize Jesus, right? The orientation towards Jesus. That's pretty cool. I hadn't made that correlation before, but yeah, it makes sense. Lights, electric lights that you plug into a socket are there to represent the candles that we used to light before there was electricity, right? And why we use it, candles and lights, yes, symbolize hope, guidance, of course, follow the light, but not when you're about to die, right? And warmth. During Christmas, they remind us of spiritual enlightenment and the resilience of light over darkness. Again, it's a dark time, it's winter. Makes sense. You're not gonna light candles during summer, right, or during spring. They also create an inviting and celebratory atmosphere, fostering togetherness and cheer. Yeah, I mean, lights, I remember like 10 years ago, they started people would show their rooms and with a bunch of lights, in their rooms, and they looked cool. it does create, these type of lights create a nice little atmosphere anywhere they are. You go to a restaurant and they have little lights like this any time of the year at night dangling, and they just look good, right? They not only aesthetic, but they make you feel good, right? Okay, number 4, the star. The origin is the Star of Bethlehem. So that's the star that we put on top of our Christmas tree from the nativity story, guided the wise men to baby Jesus. So yes, the star is the star that guides the 3 wise men to baby Jesus when he's born. Why we use it? The star represents divine guidance. Nice. So it's not only guidance, it's divine guidance, spiritual guidance, and the fulfillment of prophecy in Christian theology. Okay, so in the study of Christianity, officially, it represents the fulfillment of a prophecy. That's deep. So I guess a star, in some way, it's supposed to represent like, the fulfillment of a prediction, right? Of a prophecy in this case. And placing a star atop of a Christmas tree symbolizes seeking higher purpose and following the light of faith and hope in our lives. So yes, the star is completely religious at this point. We're talking about higher purpose in life, following the light of faith and hope, right? So Christianity is all about that, right? At least on the surface. Okay, number 5, bells. The origin is historically used in religious ceremonies to announce important events or call communities to worship. Okay, so this is before there was WhatsApp or DMs or messaging or whatever. I guess like people literally had to walk down the town ringing, a bell, like, hey guys, emergency meeting, right? Community meeting, like everybody come out, or hey, it's time to eat, everybody come in, right? Because like people were just out and about doing their own thing in the streets or wherever. So the bell, I guess, symbolizes like, hey, it's time for you to come in, it's time for church, it's time for a meeting, whatever. Makes sense, kind of like an alarm, right? And why we use it? Bells symbolize joy, I guess, celebration, and connection to the divine. Their cheerful ringing during the holiday season reminds us to celebrate life and the arrival of Christ, uniting communities in shared traditions. So a lot of this, I think, is kind of vague, like how do bells symbolize joy? But again, this is ChatGPT. But it makes sense that they unite communities. I mean, physically, I wouldn't say all bells are nice to hear, because here it says they're cheerful ringing. I mean, some of them can be annoying, especially if it's like an alarm, right? But I do understand this part that they unite communities, because it's like, hey, everybody come towards the sound, right? It's like bringing people together through sound, right? Or at times it's actually drawing people out through sound, right? Like there's an alarm, like everybody leave, right? Okay, number 6, candy canes. If you see, we got some candy canes in the back. Candy canes, their origin is a German choir master in the 17th century who would give children candy sticks to keep them during long Christmas services. Wow, I did not know that. So kids were given candy in church during long Christmas services, so they would sit still. And that makes sense, right? Because a candy cane, you don't eat a candy cane, it's not like a little piece of candy that you can just stick in your mouth and you're done with. A candy cane is long, so you have to sit there and hold it and suck on it for a good, like 30 minutes, right? It's like a popsicle, but even more because it's longer. But I guess that makes sense. So this choir master would give kids candy sticks to keep them quiet during long Christmas services. That's interesting. I did not know that. And why we use it? Candy canes are shaped like a shepherd's crook, symbolizing Jesus as the good shepherd who cares for his flock, of sheep, his followers, right? The red and white colors represent Christ's sacrifice and purity. I'm guessing red represents the sacrifice, the blood that he spilled, and white, the purity, right? Adding a spiritual dimension to this sweet tree. Nice. I did not know that. So the reason that it's red and white it's because of Christ's sacrifice and purity. So candy canes ultimately have this like religious dimension to them as well. Okay, seventh, the nativity scene. The nativity scene. The origin is Saint Francis of Assisi. I think that's how you spell it, pronounce it. Assisi. Saint Francis. I'm named after Saint Francis because my name is Francis. No, my name is not Francis. It's Francisco, but like San Francisco de Asís. It's in Spanish. Introduced live nativity scenes in the 13th century to visually convey the story of Jesus's birth. Nice. So Saint Francis, who I believe is a saint. Well, yeah, he's Saint Francis, right? I'm guessing he's the one, like it says here, who develops the nativity scene, so then Jesus's birth can be visually represented. So that's nice. And why we use it, nativity scenes serve a spiritual centerpiece, reminding us of the humble beginnings of Christ and the significance of his birth. See, now this point here is important because as humans, especially with AI and robots now, we can get carried away and think we're all that and not humbled. So then the nativity scene will set us, will basically like will humble us, right? And will make us rethink our like superiority, right, as a species, and be like, yo, like, our race has humble beginnings, like chill out, you're not that superhuman. So that's pretty cool. And they encourage reflection again on the core message of Christmas: faith, humility, and love. So you're watching the nativity scene, Jesus's birth, right? Because maybe your kids are in a play, or your nephew or whatever at school, and you're sitting there watching that, and you can't help but think, reflect, right? So that's pretty cool. Okay, 8, snowflakes. The origin of snowflakes became associated with Christmas through the imagery of snowy winters in colder regions where the holiday is celebrated. Yeah, because I'm guessing in the southern part of the world, unless you go way south, you don't really get snowflakes, right? You don't get snow. You only get snow in the upper north sides, like the United States, Canada, Europe, Russia, right? But in all of the other countries of the world, I'm guessing you don't get snow, or barely any snow. Why we use them: they represent purity, individuality, and the fleeting beauty of nature, of life. Their unique and delicate nature mirrors the wonder of the holiday season, and it focuses on appreciating the present moment. Okay, I don't know how they make us think about the present moment. They are a wonder to look at. I'm guessing all these things are kind of abstract because, and not only logically, but emotionally, right? Like you can be looking at a snowflake, or maybe at a candy cane, or at a nativity scene, or at a Christmas tree, right? All decorated, and you can't really think about it like logically, right? You can't say, oh yeah, that process makes sense. No, like it's kind of like looking at art at a museum, right? Like all abstract, like it's just your subjective personal experience, right? Like it's whatever you think and feel at the moment. You can't really find an objective like expression to it, right? Like it's not going to be like, oh yes, like the emotions were this and this, and and everybody feels those same exact emotions objectively, quantitatively, and empirically. No, like it's subjective. It's completely subjective, right? It's wonder. It's like watching maybe like a superhero movie or a very good action movie, and it's just like, wow, like you're just awed, right? Like you're just amazed. That's the wonder, I think, here. Snowflakes, I think, make sense more in an abstract term, or in abstract terms, right? Where it's like more emotional abstract terms, right? Okay, 9th, the reindeer, Santa Claus's reindeers, right? The origin, Santa's reindeers were introduced in the 1823 poem A Visit from St. Nicholas. So St. Nicholas was already, I guess, Santa Claus, also known as the night before Christmas. Wow, I did not know that. So that's where reindeers, a lot of words I've noticed before they enter popular domain, and before they get used a lot in our culture, have been alive or have been written, right? They came up. The thing about certain words is that they have already been around for a long time, but they were around in texts, right? And what happens is that someone takes them out of books and starts using them, or starts maybe representing them in movies and depictions, right? Visually, and then people start to know what that is, right? I've seen this with a lot of words, where like you're like, hey, that's a new word, right? And it's like, no, it's not that word. Like look up that word's origin, and it's from like the 17th century or whatever, the 18th century, like in this case the 19th century, 1823, right? I think I'm getting that right, yeah. And yeah, so then but they get into the popular domain maybe through the movies, through the reindeer little pictures, right? Why we use it? Reindeers symbolize the magic. Again, very vague. ChatGPT is so vague. You're so basic, ChatGPT. Honestly. Okay, so they symbolize the magic and imagination of Santa's story. And they are whimsical. They are a whimsical connection to nature, teamwork. Wow, I did not know that. Yeah, because it's not just one reindeer. Rudolph is the leader, but you need all of the reindeers, right? Pulling all of the gifts, and Santa's big butt, right? And the fantastical elements that make Christmas enchanting, especially for children. Okay, nice. Yeah, reindeers, I guess, also have that wonder, right? Like anything that flies, I would say, even flying pigs, like if you just see, but yeah, like a reindeer, I'm guessing is more aesthetic, more beautiful than a pig. But yeah, anything that you would see flying, especially, you know, during the Christmas night with snow falling and with a bunch of gifts all in red on a sleigh, right? You would think, yeah, like that's awesome. Yeah, it reminds me of this. Yeah, there's a bunch of movies, right, that I think of. I can't think of the names right now, but yeah, I've seen a lot of movies with Santa's depiction of the reindeers, you know, on a snowy night with the moon under right behind them. Okay, number 10, stockings. So stockings, these things behind me, the big socks. The origin, Saint Nicholas legend tells of gold coins falling into stockings. Let me read that again. Saint Nicholas legend, okay, so that's Santa Claus, tells of gold coins falling into stockings left to dry by the fire. Okay, leading to the tradition of hanging stockings for small gifts. Oh, so the stockings are supposed to be like compartments for gift giving as well, but smaller gifts, right? Excuse me. So you're supposed to be giving multiple gifts. I'm guessing what? Like some chocolate, like you. This reminds me of like the gift bags, right? With candy. Or like in Mexico we have Reyes, and you get your sock, right? I think you have to leave out your sock and your shoe out, and then in your sock you get candy put. But in this case, gold coins would fall into stockings left to dry by the fire. Who would do this? Who would go into a house, maybe through the chimney? I'm guessing this is where I'm guessing the parents would do this, right? Probably. But since they were by the chimney, and you know, this kind of all correlates because in colder countries, they needed to have a chimney, and they needed to have that chimney lit during winter, right? During the Christmas season. And then the stockings would be wet because people were outside playing in the snow, which is frozen water, right? Or very cold water. So they would get wet, and they would leave their stockings, that is their socks, left to dry by the fire, by the chimney. So then I don't know if this fed the Santa Claus myth of him coming in through the chimney, right? That would kind of make sense because, you know, if you're finding gold coins or candy or whatever in your stockings that are by the chimney, you know, I'm guessing that's probably a correlation right there. Okay, and why we use it? Stockings symbolize surprises. Yes, I'm guessing completely, because you may expect the gift under the tree, but not in your socks, right? Like why are you putting stuff in my socks, Santa? And the spirit of giving. Okay, so again with giving, they remind us of humble beginnings. Not sure how. Oh, maybe because socks, you wear socks. and finding joy in small, heartfelt acts of generosity. Okay, so it's all about giving, it's all about being generous, it's all about being good because Jesus is good, Christians are good, right? Okay, and finally, number 11, the 12 days of Christmas. The origin of the 12 days of Christmas, these are the days between Christmas Day, December 25th, and Epiphany, January 6th. Traditionally filled with feasting and festivity. So people eat a lot. I'm guessing this tradition goes back to them having a lot of food because they stocked up on a lot of food during spring and summer, right? Well, maybe during what is it? Summer and fall. I've been skipping fall, right? But I'm not sure. It says why we use it. This period celebrates the ongoing joy and spiritual reflection of the Christmas season, encouraging communal gatherings and shared celebrations of faith. Okay. I'm not sure. Maybe this would happen before, but nowadays, I mean, people are out and about on vacation, like starting since late November, early December. I would say nowadays, this isn't really what we do. January, I think, it's like it's Christmas and then it's New Year's. It's New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and then literally like January 2nd, people are off to work, man. People are back, right? Like this until January 6th doesn't really happen anymore. I mean, this year we're coming back to work on January 6th, right? So, then there are other things that happen, like the Three Wise Men Day, tamales on February 2nd. Things like that, like little things, but you do all of those things like at work, right? But yeah, I would say like the 12 days of Christmas would probably be now from like December 13th all the way to the 25th, something like that, or maybe anywhere around the 18th all the way to the 30th, right? Like that, those are the days where people are really celebrating, having all these little parties here and there at work with their friends, like wherever with family, right? Especially like I'm thinking the beginning of December, mid-December, right? And on. Okay, well, there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video of the 11 Christmas symbols and their meaning. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one, all right? Peace.